Okay. I'll go run. Okay. Oh my god. I think we need to go a bit. Okay. Yay! Hi everyone, and hi Grace. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for joining, for sparing your busy schedule, which is very, very busy, guys. So, you are teaching.
I am an applied theatre practitioner and I taught Antang here.
Yes, actually, you specialize in what?
So the practice of applied, I tell you, every time somebody asks me what is applied theatre, I think if I get $1, I'll be very rich. Because every time Raypo sees me, he goes, "What is applied theatre?" Yeah. So basically,
another $1.
yes, that's another $1 that he owes me. So applied theatre is a practice where as theatre practitioners we enter or are invited into different communities around the world, and then we try to make art with different communities. So it can be very interesting, it could be a very enriching process, but of course it comes with its share of challenges because you're making theatre with communities that might not be very familiar, might not be as open, or actually communities who perhaps have experienced a lot of marginalization and trauma. So yeah, and within communities as well, there are also communities, sub-communities, you know, like subcultures and things like that. So it's about the nuances of really getting to know a group of people.
Okay, so that's the overview about applied theatre. But the reason I asked for your time here is not, it's more of my own concern or curiosity about something, which is, I thought I was gonna ask about, like, how do you balance life with, by being an artist and life as a teacher? So like, how do you balance that? But turns out when I created the questions, it's more of like a dream versus reality kind of thing. Yeah. So, so oh my god, I look like I just woke up. Okay. Yeah. So, I have that kind of fear when I grow up, right? When I grow up, when I grow older, I think of like, what if at one point of time I have to sacrifice my dream in order to just be realistic. Okay, Antang, just take it easy. Okay, don't dream too big or too much or something, right? How long have you been in this industry, so-called, like, including when you're studying?
So some people know this story, but basically I was majoring in political science at university level in my first year.
You never told us this.
Yeah, and my dad actually went like, "I think you should change your majors." Then I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I can go and like, be a diplomat. I'm interested in systems. I'm interested in how societies, are run, are governed, are treated fairly and unfairly and things like that." So that's always been the heart of my day. And then now the heart of my work is social injustice, right? So my dad was like, "I think you should just change because I've seen you on stage and I've seen you write and you are most alive. You're dreaming, you're happy, you're
very
creative."
rare.
It is very rare. And this is in Singapore.
Yes.
I am Singaporean, born and bred, and my dad is also born and bred Singaporean dad.
Kudos to Chris dad.
And but he has always encouraged that because he to him it's really about a meaningful, happy life. And I said, what if I end up starving? What if this is Singapore? What if it's all about like chasing your dreams and things like that and being passionate and happy. Then he said that, well, you have to be good enough. So if you feel like you're not good enough now, you have to do the work to get to a place where you're good enough. And you've given it a go. You've learned all that you can learn. You put in all the work that you can put in. You invested in all the resources that you can invest in yourself. And it's still not working out for you. Please change another dream. Yeah, so that's my dad. For me, he said, change your module. You're gonna enjoy this now. I tell you, by the time you get to your 4th year, by the time you go and enter and work in some ministry or whatever, you're gonna be so unhappy. You're gonna be bogged down by bureaucracy. And I know my own daughter. He was like, you're gonna be crying every day to me. So he was like, go and do theatre and use theatre as your vehicle, as your platform to still talk about the things that you care about. He literally told me, he said, you can make very political plays. Bring that together. So that's
Such a supportive dad.
I know. It's
When
crazy.
I was amazed because maybe it reflected to me because my brother is just graduated from political science as well in Indonesia. So wow, it must be fun to marry these two, theater and political science, right? But you graduated from political science, you graduated
No,
already.
I changed my major in the 2nd year.
Oh my god.
But that said, all my extra, those, like cross faculty or extra modules, I cleared it all in my 1st year. Then my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year, I could just go do like theatre.
So you study
modules,
in
yeah.
Singapore?
I did. I went to NUS.
Well, theater studies, is it?
I did theatre studies, yeah. So that but that was that blend. You say dreams and reality, right?
Yes.
So there is that blend of passion and pragmatism. Your passion. My dad truly believed that if you're passionate about something, it is a space that you can grow. But it's not just pure passion. You got to really put in the work for it. You got to invest in yourself for it. So he was like, oh, you've got your degree. You've taught for a while, and I was like, I think I need to go and go to drama school in the UK. I need to do my masters, And he's like, yeah, do it. I can't pay for it, so find a way to do it. Yeah, so I worked for a few years. I saved up for my masters, and then I went to the UK and went to drama school, which was a dream of mine as well. So my dad was there to not crush those dreams, but again, that spirit of enabling.
Yes.
Right? Like, these are the steps. Like, let's explore those steps. But of course, he also told me that the duty of a parent or a teacher in a way is. You need to dream a little bit for your students, really project, have vision, see how far they can go, but also realistically, what are the obstacles? So when I work with deaf and disabled actors, I work with actors or, aspiring artists, I need to profile, I need to understand, and I need to really spend the time to get to know these talents inside out, so that I can know which are the areas that we can move towards we can push together. And certain places, a roadblock is going to be a roadblock. A block is going to be, it's going to be an obstacle that we cannot cross. Then how are we going to work around it, or do we choose another path? But the key is to never stop moving.
Ooh.
And you'll be surprised.
I'll clip that for TikTok.
It doesn't mean this dream doesn't work out, you stop moving.
Yeah.
It's about finding another path. And eventually I managed to make theatre, but also I felt like a little bit like a stranger. I mean, I was going for auditions and things like that, but I think one director once described me as a jack of all trades. So I was a little bit like, I was doing all the MediaCorp stuff. I was doing road shows. I was doing school shows. So, I'm a very open and also a very curious person.
Yes.
So when people ask me, do you want to try it? I say, okay, let's go, let's try. And then I try and go like, oh, that was awful. I will never do that again. So which is...
At least you try, right?
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
I try and but of course, there are certain things that you should never try, like drugs. You just like there are certain things that are like the equivalent of drugs.
Yes.
So you go like, ooh, that sounds tempting, but you need to know
the boundaries,
a line, for yourself. Just so I tried all this.
Yes.
Tried some really good stuff, then tried some really dubious stuff, and then was treated very badly, was exploited. Ooh. So you kind of learn from there. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go there after this. It's something very close to me. So I went to an acting school in Jakarta, right? I heard stories where my friends was like, oh, you know what? I came here, I told my dad I was going for group work with my classmates. And it's like, oh, why? Oh, because if he knew that I'm going to this school, he would be very pissed. So this is my own pocket money. I was like, that's crazy. That's something the event was close to me, but in terms of a supportive parent, it's something that's far from me, because or maybe far from us, because we both have.
yes.
I have supportive parents as well, because like, okay, go study. If you love it, try, and it somehow does make a difference when you do something like when your parents support it and your parents don't really support it, and wow, it's crazy to know that.
Our work takes so much out of our own lived experiences,
Yes.
how we see the world, how we relate to the world, right? So of course, if we live in, it's like if we're in the closet, right? I mean, in case your friend is in the closet, in that sense, right? You're not living a lie, but there's a lot of layers of secrecy, of being careful, of watching your back and things like that. You know, when all these, I would say I wouldn't say it will hinder, but it will affect the kind of artist that you will be.
My next question actually is, are there times where you have to sacrifice your dreams for sacrifice your dreams for, you know, to be pragmatic?
Actually, I never use the word dream anymore.
Oh!
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
use the word dream
Okay,
anymore.
okay.
What do I use? I mean, ideas. To me, I think I use the term ideas more. You know, I have an idea. It's interesting. It's a type of show or certain artists that excite me.
Yes.
And I want to make it happen. Right? So it's It's always from an ideation stage, and then I need to go forth and gather my resources, right? Do the research, talk to people, see what kind of resources are out there for me to make an idea become a reality. You know, dreams, I feel like it's jumping the bar.
Yeah.
Like I want to start from a more foundational space where I have an idea, I have a seed. I want to see how it can grow, but I need to go and get all the things in place. So then I can start formulating what is my plan, what are the steps, and like I said, sometimes the idea it's not ready. The time and the place and the people, right? It's always this Venn diagram of three things. Something's missing, but I can always store this idea away. Dream sounds very abstract and very
unattainable.
grand. Yes.
Yeah, sounds like something like far and like.
You know, I talk about this in school, in class all the time. When you focus on a good process, a healthy process, ethical process, so the product will take care of itself. So to me, the dream is the product. Like, oh, I think I've arrived at this place, and it feels so good, and it feels so right, and that's the dream manifesting. You know, but I've taken the steps to start ideating, to start making it happen. There will be a lot of things to navigate along the way, but necessary, right? Every work that you do out there, every kind of profession will have its own shit. So it's what kind of shit do you want to take?
Yes, it's interesting to me because I keep hearing more people saying, I don't have dreams, I have goals. And I think it's kind of similar to what you said. You said something like, you have ideas, right? And you don't really use that kind of word like dreams, right? Because, I think that's the kind of different mindset that we use, because we start doing things based on the next target. Okay, in order to achieve this, we must do this, and then we must do this first, and then afterwards I can do this, and we do it like, okay, this is the work that I have to do, instead of, I need to find a motivation to chase my dream and stuff, and like, what if I fail and stuff. So
I think it depends on how concrete the end goal is. You know, what does the finishing line look to you? So, for me, I have seeds, right? And then I grow them, and then I'm very happy as long as the tree grows. It grows in the way I enjoy that whole process, and I'm curious. So my dream is a question mark. Let's just see how this tree turns out at the end of it. Either way, I'm going to be proud of it, you know, because I have taken care of the process the best way that I can. I've made the compromises that I need to make, and by the time my tree is grown, my dream in the way has some sort of shape already. You know, I think by then I would have made my peace with it, right? I made this decision. Oh, it was a bad decision. It was, you know, and you will make bad decisions along the way, poor choices, you know, and okay, I made that, so therefore this dream turned out this way, you know. But to me, it makes sense, right? That I've learned over time to not beat myself up over, if only I've done this, that it would have turned out like this. Oh, if only I've done that. Right? What's done is done. Right? So by the time I get to the end of this process, the tree is already somewhere growing in a certain way already. You get the dream that you shape. You get the dream you made. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dream only happens when you put the work, right? When you
So
really
I
put
keep
the
it
effort.
open. I keep it abstract, and at the end of it, I'm like, oh, surprise me in a way. I still get the element of surprise, which is what we want in a show, right?
Oh, and
right. It's like kind of like making a production. Life is a production, right?
Yeah, it's something sounds
and it will
like
still be live. Things will go wrong. You know, sometimes it will be more stressful. But do you have a plan? You still have a plan. Do you have a schedule? You still have a schedule. And does the process of making a show still rigorous, still professional, and still demanding? Absolutely. Right?
Wow.
So it will test you, you know, to be your best. You give your best, and you will get a certain kind of result. Although sometimes you give your best, you might still, what do you call it? Act of God or whatever.
Act of God.
Yeah, you know. And but then, hopefully, by the end of it, you are able to look back and reflect and evaluate. Oh, this happened. That happened. This is what I did when this happened. You know, and then you make peace with what you end up with. And then off to the next dream. Then you can have many dreams, and one must have one. Right? Isn't one very limiting? You can have a few, like my dad saying, right? And then if this one doesn't work out, change another one. So your dream is my dream is maybe to have many dreams.
Okay. All right. Okay, before we move on, actually the thing that you read was a surprise question, but okay.
Which one? I have a very short goldfish memory.
Oh, okay. So I just want you to react to this sentence.
Okay.
I was scared when I formulated this question, but I already interviewed some of the other lecturers and it was okay, so I think it's fine for you. Art teachers are failed artists.
No. I mean, isn't that the term, like those who can't teach? I don't know who came up with that term. You know, have you heard about those who can't, teach? It doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I think that teaching is the highest form of artistry, and more often than not, you know, people get it wrong than they get it right. I mean, you talk about good teachers versus bad teachers. Like, if you ask people how many good teachers have they had profoundly impacting their lives, you know, how their values, you know, how they approach learning and growing and cultivating a positive work ethic, right? And teachers, I don't mean like, you know, just institutions. You know, the people around you can be teachers. Your parents are your first teachers, right? So what was that provocation again? A failed artist is a teacher. I'm sure there are many of those.
I say that because I watched this like a Netflix series called Kaminsky Method.
I love that show.
You love that show?
And my favorite teacher asked me to watch it. My favorite teacher in the whole wide world, who is probably one of the best people I know. Okay, so if we come back to this, right?
Yeah.
My mentor, he's like a dad to me. Professor,
yes.
Philip Zarelli, and
I think you mentioned this.
He passed away a few years ago during COVID, and I remember reading his books when I was in uni, quoting him a lot. So his area of research, you know, went towards acting, you know, and he did a lot of research in martial arts like Kalari-Payat and Tai Chi and all that, and you know, how to have the actor enter a certain state, a transcendental, a psychophysical connection, you know. So that's his area of practice, which I guess, you know, so sometimes I mean, I've always been drawn to his teachings, and then when we finally were introduced and we met in the UK, it was just that alignment of, yeah. And he asked me to watch Kominsky Method, you know, because he's a wonderful teacher. But at the heart of it, Philip was a wonderful person. You know, so he was at his eulogy at ITI 2 or 3 years ago. People talked about what a wonderful teacher he is, a researcher he is, but ultimately Richard Schleckman said that it's goodness. Him as a person, it's goodness, how he treats everybody so respectfully and, you know, with openness, and he was like that with every student. You know, how can he help each student grow? So the kind of advice that he would give, the kind of support that he would give, you know, it differs from each student. And he inspired me. I mean, basically, a lot of the things that I share with you, I copied from him. I borrowed from him. So, you know, he passed on a lot of things to me that I can pass on to my students.
Yeah, and I think that's the importance of finding the right mentor.
Yeah, mentorship.
Mentorship is very important.
Yeah.
I keep mentioning that my previous, just maybe we have the same relationship in terms of like a father figure. So like my acting teacher was the one who kept pushing me to go study abroad. Go, why are you here? Just study abroad, and then just use your knowledge, and then come back and maybe make a difference and stuff. I wouldn't be here if he didn't push me to go abroad. So I think going back to if you're a failed artist, like you said, like teaching is the highest form of artistry.
It is, because you are sowing those seeds.
Yes, you're impacting so much people. You might sometimes teachers might think that, like, that's the thing that really impacted you. Okay, I didn't really realize. But sometimes whatever we say, whatever the teachers say in class really impacted the students in a way that they never really imagine. So
I don't think it's with a failed artist. I mean, we're talking about, you know, qualities, right? Like somebody could be really, really good in the art form, but not very good at communicating that and enabling and passing on that sort of thing. In because students are learn in different ways, and you need to adapt your way of communicating in order to guide students, correct? So, and there could be some people who perhaps not as successful, whether it's from a commercial sense or, and we know art is subjective, or sometimes an artist deemed not as successful is maybe they just don't hustle as much, they don't put the degree of visibility. So it's hard to define what is a failed artist, what is a good or not so good artist. We can define by commercial success for sure, right? And and how much they publish and things like that. But we can definitely tell who is a good and a bad teacher. That's for sure. So there could be very successful artists who want to be in the classroom. You know, I can tell you that I see y'all 8 hours a week, and there are days when I just like, I wake up like, I can't do this. My child keep me up all night. I'm managing 5-6 things at the same time, and I'm just so tired, and I don't want to go and teach. Should I just take MC? You know, but then of course I have to show up because that's my job, right? And I would show up in the classroom and just be with all of you. And I think, you know, I'm so happy to be with y'all. I get rejuvenated, you know. I get inspired by what y'all bring to the table, you know. And my style of teaching is not top-down, it's the opposite, right? Like, this is a playground. Let's build it together. Let's play the way you want to, but you need to do the work. You need to give me your ideas, right?
That's the art.
So I mean, maybe this area of applied theatre, right? It's always student-led, it's student-centered, it's community-centered. So my job is to just be that supporting role in the back and give in facilitation to tease out certain things. So I feel like I'm always adaptable. My job is never boring. right? I never know what to expect, you know, and all the invitations that I set in the space, you guys will give me something that I cannot pre-plan or think. And I always get so beautiful, like, you know, I get beautiful surprises. So I always leave the classroom. It could be 3 hours, it could be 4 hours for y'all, but I just feel, you know. So I think a successful teacher is someone who wants to be in that space with everybody and genuinely, you know, enjoys being in the classroom and gets so much from the students in return.
You know, I think you're the fifth, sixth that lecturer that I interview, and it's coming quite clear to me that for the lecturers to respond to this question, to the sentence, is that failed artists can't teach. You know, sometimes I feel like
yeah, you'll be teaching failure, whatever that failure looks like.
Whatever that failure looks like. And they say, oh, if you're a good artist, then you will you will sustain your career in art and not teaching, right? And like, no, really, like you said, really good artists, they want to share what they have to the students. And all the lecturers that I interview, you, everyone is a wonderful artist. I can see that what you're giving is well planned, well thought, and you have all that past experience that you want to share, and that's a good stuff. I mean, who else can the students see? Where else can the students see what's happening in the industry other than looking at you all?
So teachers are also portals.
Yes,
into the
these
industry.
are also portals. So, wow, that's okay. I think I want to move on from this. This is already 26 minutes, and it's only these 2 questions. But okay, I want to move on from your life as an artist and your life as a teacher, to your life as a teacher only. Okay. When I think about grace, I immediately think of safe space, and everything is consensual, everything is communicate, everything is positive environment and stuff, right? I come from an acting school that, like I told you, that my mentor was the opposite, was not complete, okay, just
like the tiger.
Yes, the kind of like teacher is like, Antam, do better, Antam, like, and on stage I was immediately like, oh, what should I do? But it worked for me. Okay, and I don't know how were you taught, but like back then, like what kind of mentality that your teachers gave. But I want to know, from your perspective as a teacher, is it different now? Like that kind of tough love, does it still work now, or what do you see? How do you see?
Well, that depends on what you mean by work, right? You know, a whip, carrot, and a stick approach. The stick always works, right? People will move. People will do it out of fear, out of, you know, but things will happen if that's what you want. Just like the carrot method, some people will be incentivized, some people will be encouraged, and it depends, different contexts and all that. Whatever that you just talked about, I mean, I've done that too. I've yelled at students. Because
really, you never did.
remember we learn from our teachers, and then our learning styles, our directing styles. You know, we see that it has worked on us. Therefore, it must work on someone else, right? So when I started out as a teacher, which is fresh out of uni, I went from uni, then I went straight into just teaching. In a way, I found that I was regurgitating what I knew, like whatever I learned in my degree, I was just passing it on. And then I think in my 3rd year, I realized that I could do this. I could make things happen by shouting, by like just driving students the way that I was driven. You know, I was a product of the 80s, the 90s, right? I mean, they were still caning people back then. They were caning people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it has always been like that. I was as the dominant mainstream kind of like educational culture, but over time we have evolved around there, and that comes with its problems, right? The lack of discipline, the
Yeah, exactly.
you know, so we know that corporal punishment is generally like almost like illegal most places now, and that comes with its outcomes. I did that because that was the only way I knew how to teach, and then teaching is a practice. The more you do it, you know, and then again that degree of reflection, and I go like, I don't want to teach like that. I don't want to be shouting and hitting people, and I mean I don't hit people, but I don't want to be shouting and pushing, and it's actually at the heart of it, it's fear, right? You're using fear as a tool to teach. People are doing work because they don't want to get shouted, they don't want to get penalized, they don't want to fail. They don't want to make their teachers unhappy. They don't want to create a bad impression, right? For whatever reasons, we do a lot of things motivated by a fear of failure or a fear of judgment, right? That is the old school education system, right? And
So you
people
were that
wanna
kind of
change it.
teacher?
I think at the beginning, I wouldn't say I was like that. I tried to be the friend. I tried to, things like that. But you know, when things need to happen, there is a test that's happening, right? There is a project, there is a production that's going to happen at the beginning. And then I realized that there must, so for me, I'm always like, okay, this works, but is there another way? I always ask myself, I've done it and I follow my instincts. Am I happy doing it this way to get to this result? And that doesn't just apply to my students, it applies to me, right? I've gotten to a place that I want to get to, but I ask myself, how did I get there? Was I happy? Was I proud of the way that I got there? If not, is there another path? Is there another way? And it's about, I want to work in an environment that is inclusive, that is safe, that is about social justice, right? So naturally, I know that this way is not going to work.
Exactly.
It just, so coming back to that pragmatism, I said, it's not going to work. It's not going to serve my practice. So I need to find another way to teach. And therefore, when I teach applied theatre with you, it's also to show you another way of working. It doesn't mean that my way needs to apply to everybody.
Something I learned today.
Oh, I'm glad. Forever teacher. You know, but yeah, I mean, I don't need to teach this way because other teachers are teaching this way. Just like they don't have to teach my way, they can teach it the way that they are happy and okay with. And power to them. Who am I to go and judge? But the work that I've chosen to do is about working with traumatized, fragile, vulnerable communities. So I have to do it this way because this way works, right? So
So how do you encounter like that kind of problem that happens because of that kind of approach? Like what you said, there is sometimes lack of discipline. There is there's no desire to move, you know, to like, okay, let's do the work. Because of that kind of approach. So how do you encounter that with that kind of method that you're using?
Of course, I always start my projects very, very early. So it's always about getting to know the people that I'm working in the room. And I choose, just like they choose me, I choose the people that I work with, and I work with what are the possibilities but also the limitations in that space, and I try to prepare as much as I can so that I know that what kind of motivation and what kind of support my collaborators need. So certain situations, if like you said, you know, it's the complete lack of discipline, or for whatever reason, you know, this person has never worked in a disciplined way, right? Has never been guided and supported in a way, right? Then is it a different kind of timeline that needs to be happening, or do I need to employ other form of resources? And I will introduce that discipline, right? And so it's also when I have to be firm, because I have ethos, I have ethics that ground, and we can be respectful and speak softly and things like that, but we have to be accountable. Part of being keeping a space safe and nurturing is also accountability. And if people are not accountable, people are not showing up for themselves or other people, right, or are not being honest, you know, have a lot of red flags, it is also my job to be, I wouldn't say like a police, but bouncer, maybe like a nightclub bouncer. I will have to go in there and go like, hey, I need to keep this club safe. So I need to go like, you know, real talk. You're doing something that's not safe, and I need to be firm about that. You know, I have called police before in some of the rehearsal rooms that I
What?
work with. Yeah. Not in Singapore.
Okay.
Because
Still.
because it was getting violent. People came to the rehearsal room high, you know, and or very traumatized because just had a meeting with the parole officer, then were re-offended, then wasn't allowed to see their child that weekend or things like that. So people would sometimes, if I work in, say, prisons, or I work in halfway houses, you know, so
You're working with the
come in,
community.
correct.
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
come in. That means they can be students, right? So they're doing like nighttime drama classes. They're learning to like this one. In this case, it was they were trying to professionalize as theatre makers. But they have re-offended or are at the risk of reoffending, and you know, and have a relationship with drug abuse, with a history with addiction and things like that. Yeah, so I still have to be very firm because I need to keep everyone else safe. Yeah, and of course I need to weigh what is where are we in terms of our production. If we're going to bump in next week already and you're acting out, I will be very firm because I do not want to set anyone up to fail. I don't just put people on stage for the sake of putting on it. If they haven't had a very healthy process, it's probably safer, not just for myself, but for them to not go on stage. We'll just change the script at the last minute. We'll just get theatre is in the ing, right, in the making. So we have to, you know, right up to the moment when we step on stage, we can make changes.
It's something that's very memorable to me. It's something that you said on stage is when you work with this disability community, you said something about we don't want a disability. Something along this. You clarify me if I'm wrong. Something along. We don't want disability performance. We want a disability perfect performance, like or
we
something
want
like
disability excellence.
Excellence. Yes.
We want
So-
Beyonces and, you know, and Jay-Z's. It's like the term. Actually, minority culture and disability culture is very, very similar. You know, when it comes to representation, when it comes to, you know, fighting for minority rights and disability rights, it's quite similar, right? So you don't want, as a minority, you don't want to be patronized as well. You don't want to be just cast for the sake of being cast. But you're set up to fail. You're not ready for a certain
token.
Token CEO, for example, but you just joined the company less than a year ago, right? Looks good on paper, but it's going to be so stressful and you're being set up to fail. It's the same thing. We want disability excellence. We want people, we want Frida Kahlo. We want, you know, where she uses her disability in her art, right? She paints, like, you know, about all the things that her body was going through. But people don't just go like, oh, we're just gonna drop $5 million for Frida because she suffered so much. She's such an inspiration. No, because she's a freaking icon, right? And her work speaks for itself, even after she's long gone. So when I work with deaf and disabled or marginalized artists, minority artists, the work ethic still needs to bear. The quality definitely needs to be there, right? The attitude, the right professional attitude. All these are elements of excellence.
Yes, and people come to watch, not to watch disabled people, but they want to watch artists as well, right?
Yes, and a atypical artist will make atypical work, and to me, that's more avant-garde. That's going to be very unexpected. That's going to be very fresh for the audience. So we're making a different kind of work. So when we say excellence, it's also not pitching it to mainstream standards.
Yes,
right?
Yes, of course.
It's about a different kind of excellence, a different kind of artistry. And in the subjective, abstract world of art, if there's any, realm that has space for avant-garde, has space for the atypical, it's the arts. It's absolutely the arts, you know. Yeah. If they want to be accountants, then of course they must, get all the proper accreditation and still be very good accountants in that specific field. They cannot ask for different accommodations.
I learned a lot from this interview. But before we wrap things up, 39 minutes.
You can edit. You can cut out. I tend to ramble. So
no, it's okay. It's okay. I don't really like edit stuff. I don't really edit stuff. I want people to learn from you as well. So before we wrap things up, My final thing would be, what's your calling? Why? What's that exact if there is any exact moment that makes you, okay, I want to dedicate myself to doing this kind of work. Because I've read some background from you. You told me about what kind of things that you have studied in terms of in the theater production or theater industry. You, for the lack of a better term, you could have done things that you're not doing right now, but you didn't. Or maybe you did, but there's a percentage to it, like the kind of work that you're doing. But you are still known as a applied theater practitioner who is doing work for community, for minority people, for disabled people. So what's your calling? Like, if there is any exact moment, what is that? Okay, you know what? I want to do this kind of work from now on.
I think it was probably when I ended up in the UK. Actually, even before, when I started shopping around, for all the different drama schools, and I applied to like masters in performance, ensemble training, directing, and at that level, you are not just being interviewed; you're interviewing other people, and to find out more about. And when I read about this course, applied theatre, and I thought that it actually requires a jack of all trades. I love theatre. I love making it. I love being part of it. I love being on stage, but I also love being in the backstage. And I want to do every bit of it. If you ask me to go and sweep the floor, I will do it. I just like every part of that process. And that made me, in a way, not a specialist, but a jack of all trades. But I managed to find this area of theatre making which requires me to be a jack of all trades. I need to know a little bit of everything, and I also have to be curious in the practices of other people, and I don't have to do this alone. I am more like a bridge. I'm more like a glue. I bring everybody together and try to figure out who's best at what. So it's almost like, Nick Fury, or what you call it, right? You bring the Avengers together.
Assemble.
Yeah.
Assembling
So
the
my
team.
job, it's almost like I am the art of collage or something like that. Oh, you're really good at this. You're really good at that. Would you like to, matchmaking, would you like to come in and work with this person? I have a dancer with an atypical body. Would you like, you are an aging dancer. Interesting parallels. How about coming together and so I am fostering these experimentations, and I am not leading it, and I don't have to lead it. I just need to bring people together and figure out a way to work together. So that is, I would say, my calling. And my calling is also, if there is no space at the table, then we build our own table. So then I need to go and learn how to be a carpenter, in the most metaphorical sense of it. But I like to, it's okay, you can close a door in my face and I'll figure out how to jam open your door.
So it sounds to me that your calling, or so-called maybe passion, is to find the good in people.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't it exciting?
Yeah, isn't
like
that
treasure
exciting?
hunting,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and not just find it, discover it, bring it together and make something wonderful together. And I relish the challenge of, in disability, as we pray to Ganesh, the God, because he's the remover of obstacles. So I relish, as long as I have the energy for it, I will remove as many obstacles that come our way. Wow. It's about rolling up your sleeves, getting dirty. Yeah, so that I realized, I kind of like to do that.
Wow, that's very noble. Because, like I said, this. I think as an actor, it's very tempting to get the spotlight, right?
Oh yeah.
It's very tempting to no, I want to do something that I feel. I want to cry on stage. People call me as a great actor, and I want to get that Oscar one day. I want to be the best actress or actor. I want to, people praise me and stuff, but you chose, no, that's not something that I need. And that's, I think it's very noble, Grace.
I think it's just, I just do what I like, you know. My husband is just like, oh, whatever. You just, woman, you just wake up today and go like, I want to do this. So every day, right, it's like today, all I want to do is just lie in bed and Netflix. And if I die tomorrow, it's okay. I tell myself every day I must be happy with the choices that I made today. So I made a choice to hang out with you today, and if I drop dead the next second, you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, I should have kissed my child more and things like that, because I kiss him a lot. You know, so I just do what I want to do. In the least reckless, not that I'm not reckless, the least reckless and the safest way possible. But I think that's me. I'm a dog that wants to just chase and smell the flowers, you know, and I do it. And I'm very, I wouldn't, it's in a way lucky to be born with a father that encourages that, and to find a partner. And eventually I built Access Path, which I realized that in order for me to be able to do whatever I want responsibly, and you know, but just to have fun, you know, to have fun and never have a boring day and regret anything, then I need to build a company and a collective of people and teach a module that I like to teach, you know. So I define the parameters of how I want to operate and how I want to live. But that comes, of course, after years and years and years. You know, I can't say it happened at the very beginning, because there is a lot of, but I believed in it. I believe in like let's just work towards being able to build an environment, you know, that you can be yourself and do what you want.
Crazy. I learned a lot. I don't know about you guys, but it was wonderful. So one last thing, just stay here.
Where are you going? What's this? I love batik. I like the box already.
So this is for you. This is batik.
Okay, you've graduated already, so this is not bribery.
Yeah, this is not bribery. This is the reason I do this after
can I open
Yes,
this?
of course, please.
Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And I'm so curious, you need to tell me, like, what print is this? Who made it? How it was made? Where did you get it from?
I'm sorry, my fellow Indonesians.
Yes?
I'm so
yes,
sorry.
You didn't know.
I did ask
you don't know.
I asked my mom. So my mom came here like the other day to my parents. I came to.
Oh, this is beautiful.
To give some of this.
Oh, it's my color. I'm very.
And I asked, and my mom also said, I don't know. I just randomly take it from the shop. So it's not printed. It's how do you call it? You use the wax.
Yes. Oh, wow.
I think.
I love batik. Every time I go to Indonesia, I go crazy. I look up for the batik shops. I absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah,
this is very kind.
you. It's not much compared to what teachers have given to us. I keep saying to all my other lecturers that I interview, a teacher might forget their students, but students will never forget their teachers.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice to hear.
I mean, you're teaching thousands of students, maybe, right? Maybe like, oh yeah, I did you. But to us, maybe you to your previous lectures, you will remember. I will always remember. So that's all. Thank you. Can I give you a hug?
Of course.
Thank you.
Consent.
Thank you so much for sparing your time. It's 48 minutes.
Happy to.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Is there any upcoming show?
Yeah, I'll be working with Inclusive Young Company, and it's going to be at the KC Art Center.
When?
So, in 22nd November, that weekend.
Okay.
So yes, come. It's going to be a fully disabled cast, and we're going to be working on an undisclosed UK play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Grace. Bye-bye.